Hey everyone, my name is William. I'm here from the YouTube channel Scamming Scammers, and we have a Facebook page called Scamming Scammers Action. And I was asked to do a quick video for everybody before we go ahead and do our tutorial. And one of the biggest questions that we've been asked to do is a video on phone scams. So our first question is, what is a phone scam? And the answer to that is a phone scam is a scam that when a caller calls you on the phone, whether they call you on your cell phone, your mobile phone, your home phone, they'll call you and oftentimes they'll say they're from Social Security or from the IRS, or even they might say that they are from an insurance company and that your car was involved in an accident and you're found guilty of this accident and they try to extort money from you. Either way, whatever excuse they use, it's considered a scam. And oftentimes what will happen is, let's say for example, you get a call from Social Security. And so you don't know the number, you don't recognize the number, you answer the phone, and someone on the other end says, "Hi, my name is Bob Smith. I'm calling from Social Security. Your number has been used in a fraud, and we would like to go ahead and verify your information." And so you're on the other end of the phone, and you're thinking, "Oh no, my credit, all my information's being used." And a lot of times, scammers will say, "Yes, yes, it's very urgent," and you'll go ahead and they'll ask you for your Social Security number. And a lot of you that live in the United States know that your Social Security number is kind of the gateway, the key to your credit, to opening bank accounts, loans, various things like that. So what happens is, in a panic, you give this person on the phone, thinking they're Social Security Administration, you give them your Social Security number. The scammer will then go ahead and write that number down, and then they'll ask you, well, may we have your first and last name? So you think, oh, of course, let me give you my first and last name. So you go ahead and give them that information. So now the scammer has your Social Security number and they have your name. Okay? Those are two key things that a scammer needs. Now the third thing they're going to ask you for, what's your date of birth? So they're going to ask you for your date of birth. Okay? So now they have three things, and that is actually like a triangle. You have to think of it as a triangle. So they have your full name, your date of birth, and your Social Security number. Those three things create a window and an opportunity for a scammer to open a credit card in your name, get a bank loan, get an online banking account where they can then use you and your online banking account as a vessel to transfer money. They can use it to open various quick payday loans where they can have the money sent to their new bank account that they opened in your name because you gave them all three key pieces of information that they needed. So what happens when you give this information? And who are the scammers that get this information? Well, scammers work all over the world. We have scammers in India, we have scammers in West Africa, we have scammers all over. And what happens is they get your information, and they'll do one of two things with it. They'll either, like I said, open a bank account, or they'll use your information and they can actually sell it online to other scammers who would be interested in using it to open their own bank accounts or their own credit lines. So now you have to remember that places like the Social Security Administration, they don't call you on the phone for you to verify your information. They're not going to ask you for any of these key pieces of information. Now, another very popular scam, and it's more of a pressured scam, is when the IRS calls you. And so you'll get a call, and it's usually, it can be all year round, but it's usually right before or after we filed our taxes. So what happens is, Social Security, we got that one, the IRS. So let's say you're filed your taxes, okay, and it's April 25th. You filed your taxes, you're waiting for your money to come, whether it come from a rebate check or whatever. But all of a sudden one day you get a call, and the call comes from the IRS. So that's the Internal Revenue Service. And everyone in America files taxes. We do it with the IRS, right? So you get a call. It's from a number you don't know, and it may even say on the caller ID IRS or tax service. A lot of scammers will what's done spoofing where they make a fake name to go with their fake phone number. So you get a call from the IRS, and it's a man named Bob Jones. And you answer the phone and he says, yes, this is Bob Jones with the IRS. Uh, we have noticed there's some fraud. There's something going on. You owe back taxes. Your taxes were filed incorrectly and you need to pay right away. And so you're panicking because I don't know about yourself, but when I owe taxes, I want to get them paid. It makes me nervous. So you're thinking, oh gosh, all right, so well, what do I need to do? So you're on the phone, and the scammer will say, well, you owe, we'll just make up a number. We'll say you owe $1,000 in back tax, okay? So you're on the phone with this IRS agent, and he tells you owe $1,000 in back taxes. So then you're panicking. You're going, well, what am I going to do? I got to pay this. You know, the IRS charges penalties and interest, and trust me, that scammer on the phone with you is going to tell you, oh yes, if you don't pay that $1,000 today, tomorrow there'll be a 30% interest charge, and it'll just keep going up and up, and you'll owe $10,000 before the end of the year. That puts you in a panic mode. And so what the scammer will do, well, he will pressure you, and he'll say, well, look, I work for the IRS. I'm official agent so-and-so. They'll even give you a fake IRS tax number, badge number, whatever. So they're going to tell you, well, look, if you pay this $1,000 today, we can take care of this. Then you won't owe anything. There'll be no interest. Just pay it once, it's done. And you'll say to the IRS, well, I don't have $1,000 right now. How do I pay it? Scammer will turn around and tell you, you know what, Mr. Johnson, so you owe the IRS $1,000, and we want the money right now. But I don't have $1,000 to pay you. I can't get to my bank. You know, the bank's closed. It's Sunday afternoon. Okay, so what can we do? It's quite simple. That scammer on the phone will say to you, well, do you live near Walmart? And most people in America, I mean the majority of us, we live within 10, 15-minute drive of a Walmart. Personally, I live about 10 minutes away from one. The scammer will say to you, well, tell you what, go to Walmart, okay, and you need to get yourself some iTunes cards. Or they might say some Amazon cards. And forgive my sloppy handwriting. So the scammer will tell you, go to Walmart, pick me up $500 worth of iTunes gift cards. It's really easy. You can find them in the little gift card kiosk in front of the Walmart by the popcorn. Then go ahead and pick up $500 worth of Amazon cards. They're little black cards. You just load up $100 on each card. And you'll think to yourself, well, I got to go to Walmart anyways. I can do that. So you get in your car and you tell the scammer, okay, well, you'll tell the IRS agent, okay, I'll go right now. Well, that scammer will actually say, are you on your mobile phone, your cell phone? And most of us, I mean, the small majority of us have a landline, but most of us have a cell phone. And I'll say, yes, I'm on my cell phone now. Well, good. I'll tell you what. As an IRS agent, I'm going to look out for you. I'm going to stay on the phone with you while you drive to the Walmart, and I'll help you while you're in the store find those iTunes cards. And so most of us who are being scammed will say, oh okay, well, I'll put you on my Bluetooth, and we'll go ahead and head to Walmart. And so what do? We stay on the phone, and we go with this IRS man to the Walmart, and we get $500 in iTunes cards. We buy $500 in Amazon cards, and that's going to go ahead and erase our big tax bill. So you get the cards, and hopefully if a cashier is a good cashier, he or she will say, hey, why are you buying this many cards? But the majority of them just don't care, and they just ring them up. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and get those cards. You're still on the phone with the scammer, mind you. Let me grab this real quick. And as you're on the phone with this scammer, he's telling you, well, okay, you've gotten the iTunes cards, you've gotten the Amazon cards, and you're saying to yourself, now what do? And the answer to that is, the scammer will tell you, go ahead and scratch off the back of these cards, and go ahead and give me the numbers off the back of these cards. And so what you have is these cards, And if you've never seen an iTunes card or an Amazon card, they look just like a gift card from a store. It's a card like this. On the back is a bunch of numbers, and you scratch them off. The scammer will say to you, can you please go ahead and give me the numbers off these cards? And so you're on the phone, and you're like, yes, I'll give them to you right now. Once I give you these numbers, will my tax bill be taken care of? Absolutely. So you give the scammer all these numbers, and they go ahead, and they say, thank you, and they hang up, and that's the end of the scam. And what happens is you can't get that $1,000 back. You can't return those cards, because I'm going to tell you right now, the moment you give that scammer those iTunes cards numbers, they're spent. They're done. They're spent. It's over. End of scam. They move on to another person. So what do? We panic when the IRS calls us. We panic when Social Security calls us. What you need to keep in mind is that, as I told you with Social Security, the IRS is not going to call you on the phone and tell you that you owe money. They're never going to call you on the phone and tell you that. They're never going to ask you for iTunes cards, Amazon gift cards, your bank account details. If you owe money to the IRS, what happens is you get a certified letter in the mail. You take that certified letter, take it to your tax advisor, take it to H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, your personal CPA, whoever you do your taxes with, and you say, hey, I got this letter, can you verify it, can you find out, and you go from there. This type of scam is initially a phone scam. And a lot of these scammers target people that are between the ages of 55 and 100 years old. And unfortunately, millions and millions of dollars are lost every year because of these kind of scams. And so what we try to do is try to educate people, teach them what to look out for, how to stay safe. To keep in mind that, as I said, the IRS, Social Security, they don't call people on the phone for any reason, and they certainly do not ask you for gift cards. Never, ever in a million years. Now, those are just two examples of a phone scam. There's many, many, many more types of phone scams. We can get into some of those at a later date, but I wanted to just talk about the first two that are very important. Now, one of the biggest questions we get asked all the time is, well, who are these scammers? Like, where are they coming from? Are they calling me from up the street? I mean, I live in, Texas, and I get a phone call from a Arizona number. So is my scammer from Arizona? Probably not. Your scammers that are calling you, pretending to be the IRS, pretending to be Social Security Administration, the majority of these scammers use what's called a throwaway number, or what's known as a free voicemail number. And basically what it is a scammer will go on and register for a Gmail account, or go to textnow.com or call8.com, and they will register an email address. They will pick a state they want to be from, and they'll go ahead and it'll generate a phone number. And so when you receive the phone call, you may get for example, a Texas number with a 210 area code. So you pick it up and you think, oh my gosh, it's San Antonio, Texas. It's not. What it is a free voicemail number. And what you're not getting someone calling you on their mobile phone or their office phone. You're getting a scammer calling you from anywhere in the world, and he's calling you on an app. And when he calls you from the app or calls you from his computer, it comes up with that 210 area code, because that's the number he picked. That's the state he picked in the city, and that's where he called you from. Now, if you have a scammer call you and you think it's a Texas number, and you answer it and it's someone that says of the IRS or it's Social Security, it's a scammer. Just hang up. Don't even engage them. Don't even fear them. Just hang up on them. Now, a big question is, who are the scammers and where are they from then? If they're not from the United States, they're not calling me from Texas. Who are these people? Well, I've been dealing with scammers and what they do for almost 5 years now. And I will tell you that the majority of scammers doing phone scams are from the following places. If anyone has an idea, um, they mostly come from India, they come from Nigeria, Ghana, and really the whole area of West Africa. Now, scammers also come from other places. This is just the main countries. We have India, Nigeria, and Ghana. That is a big hub for phone scams. But we also have scammers. We do have scammers in the United States, but the majority of them that do these type of phone calls and ask for iTunes cards, Amazon cards, they're going to be from West Africa or India. We've had some from Pakistan, Bangladesh, but mostly the hub of them are going to be from India and West Africa. Now, who are these scammers? They can be young kids. They can be 18, 19-year-old young boys and girls who are, part of the Yahoo Boys or another internet group that scam. A lot of them from India work in call centers, and they can have 100 people in one little call center. Men and women from the ages of 18 all the way up to 40, 50 years old calling you and getting these cards. Now, another big question is, what do they do with these cards? What is an iTunes card? What is an Amazon card? Well, it's a great question that people always ask me, and they ask actually quite often, what do they do with these cards? Well, iTunes cards, as you know, if you don't, are from Apple. So there's a few things that they can do with them. A lot of scammers will get these cards from victims of scams, and they'll get anywhere from $1,000 a day to $10,000 a day worth of these cards. They go on groups and social networking sites like Facebook and they sell them, they trade them, and they go to websites where they can upload the numbers and they can turn them into cash. So if you send a scammer a $100 iTunes card, he can get anywhere from $75 to $80 cash for it, and it's done through places like PayPal and Western Union. The companies will buy these cards and send the money. Another thing they do with them is they what's called top up their Apple iPhones. So they're able to, and trust me, most scammers have better phones than you and I will ever have. They have the top of the line iPhone X. They have the $1,000 phones. They get them through scamming. They take these cards, they upload them to their phones, and it tops them up for them. It gives them the opportunity to download apps, to chat, to do different things, and continue their scamming work online. Now, another good one is Amazon. So they ask for these Amazon cards. And so all of us, the majority of us, know what Amazon is. Amazon is a website where we buy all kinds of stuff. Personally, I love Amazon. I go on and buy things that I don't need. But what scammers do is they get these Amazon cards, and they will go on to these websites. It's a gift card. It's $100. They'll go on Amazon, and they'll buy something. They'll buy a new pair of shoes, a brand new pair of Nikes. They'll buy some gold chains. They'll buy designer clothes, handbags, whatever. And what they do is they will ship them to somebody in the States, whether it be a relative, a friend, or a stranger that they've met online and who they've told, hey, I'm shipping you a package, make sure you get it, and then go ahead and send it to me in a place like Lagos, Nigeria. So when you give a scammer an iTunes card, when you give a scammer an Amazon card, you're giving them cash. It's the same as giving them cash. And with Western Unions and MoneyGrams, they're kind of cracking down on wiring money. They're making it harder for scammers to get the money. So what they're doing is they're getting these cards, and they're as good as having $100 cash in your hand. So keep that in mind. That's what they do with them. That's what they use them for. And it's a big commodity online for scammers to ask for these cards. So what I want you to remember is when you're at home watching TV and your phone rings, if If you don't recognize the number, don't pick up. You know when your grandson's calling you, you know his number. It'll probably come up, grandson Bob, you know. When your daughter, your son is calling you, you know their number. If you have a phone like I do, caller ID, it shows it's our daughter Sally. Pick it up. But if you're sitting at home watching TV and your cell phone rings or your home phone rings, and it's a number you don't recognize, or it's a weird looking number where it's all number twos or all number fives across your caller ID, don't pick it up, because the majority of the time it's going to be a scam, and it's not worth the fear factor of the panic of feeling like you're going to be prosecuted for something you did, or the IRS is going to come and get you. At the end of the day, it's just a scammer, and it's probably a 20-something-year-old scammer from a place like Lagos, Nigeria, who is scamming you. They're scamming everybody. And unfortunately, and I hate to say it, our grandparents are getting scammed more now than ever because of these type of calls. A lot of times people who are older, who are retired in their home, and they fear the IRS, they fear Social Security Administration, and they think, well, oh no, if I don't do this, I won't get my Social Security check next month, and that's my bread and butter to live on, you know. So keep this in mind. If you're talking to somebody online, or talking to someone on the phone, excuse me, and they are pressuring you, telling you you need to go get a gift card, you need to do this or that, or you're going to go to jail, or something's going to happen, just hang up. Don't even engage them in a conversation. Don't doubt yourself, just hang up. Now, the last thing I want to touch on, and this is a similar type of scam, but unfortunately it's a growing scam, and a lot of our victims that come to us, and they message and they email us, and they say, you know, I thought this was real. So how many of us here, we have kids and grandkids? Let's say most of us here will have grandkids that are in their teens and 20s, and we worry about them, you know. What scammers do, and it's called the grandparent scam. And if anyone's never heard of it, it's the grandparent scam. I'll write it up here for you. So what is it? What is a grandparent scam? Well, so they're scamming the grandparents. Basically what happens is your phone will ring. You pick up the phone, even though if you don't recognize the number, you shouldn't be doing it. So you pick up the phone, and somebody calls, and you answer, and they say, hi, this is Officer Johnson at the Miami Police Department. I have your grandson Kelvin here, and he was involved with criminal activity, and he's being held in jail, and he needs $1,000 bail, and he's asked us to call you. And so you think, oh, you know, my grandson, he lives in Miami, and you know, he's such a good boy, he'd never do this, but what happened? And so you would ask the person on the phone, what happened? And they'd say, well, your grandson, he was with some friends in a car that was stolen, and he had drugs on him. And we're holding him in the jail, and he's asked us to call you. It's $1,000 to bail him out. Well, as a grandparent, and of course you love your grandkids, you're going to say, oh no, you're going to be mad at him, but you're going to be scared for him. You know, little Kelvin's only 18 years old, and he's, you know, a little boy. He hasn't even grown up yet. He's not a man yet. He's, you know, he's still struggling with acne, and he's, you know, 110 pounds soaking wet. So you panic, and you say, oh, I got to help my grandson. So what do? You tell the person on the phone, what can I do? How can I help? And Officer Johnson, or whoever it is you're speaking to, is pretending to be a police officer, will say to you, well, it's $1,000 to get him out of jail. You can do it one of two ways. You can Western Union or wire the money straight to the jail to a bail officer, or you can buy $1,000 worth of those infamous iTunes cards, or Western Union the money. So you have a choice, and you only have 1 hour to decide. Either you're going to send the iTunes cards through the phone, or you're going to go down to Western Union. You're going to send $1,000 to the agent who's handling your grandson's case. So what do you do as a grandparent? You panic. You say, I'll send the money. How do I do it? Well, the scammer will say to you, oh, Western Union, do you want to do Western Union? That's really easy, really quick. And you do it. So you go down there, go down to Western Union, take the money, you got the money in your credit card, your bank account, whatever, you take the money, go, and you wire the money. Well, who do you wire it to? Do you wire it to the Miami Police Department? The jail? No. That scammer is going to keep you on the phone and he's going to tell you, or she, you need to wire the money to an agent. And oftentimes, this agent will be someone in the United States. It won't be the scammer. What it'll be is what we call a mule. And scammers use people in the States, and they use people all over the world, but majority of them are in the United States. They use them as mules. And so what you do is you'll send the money to Tom Johnson in Miami, Florida. He's the agent handling your grandson's arrest. So you send the money. Tom Johnson, the agent, picks up that money, and then he's told by the scammer, who's likely in a place like West Africa, okay, Tom, go ahead and send that $1,000 to me. And that so-called fake police officer's on the phone with you. He's going to tell you, oh, okay, yeah, as soon as we get that money, your grandson will be out of jail. So you hang up. Scam is over. So what do? Do you call your son? Do you call your daughter? And you say, did little Kelvin get out of jail? Is he out of jail? And what happens? Your son or daughter says, Kelvin's not in jail. He's in his room doing his homework. Scam over. And that's it. So that's what's a grandparent scam. There's a lot of different variations of it, but that's the most classic and popular one for scammers to use. So what do you do if you get a phone call from the Miami Police Department telling you your grandson has been arrested? You hang up. You don't engage, you hang up. And what you do is you call your family. Call your daughter, your son. Hey, is our grandson in jail? If you can't get a hold of the family, you go and you either Google the number for the Miami Police Department, or if you don't have the internet, operator, can you get me the number for the Miami jail, Miami Police Department? And you speak directly to them. You don't call the number that was on the caller ID, because that's going to be a fake phone number. You call directly and you say, hey, I'm so-and-so. Is my grandson listed at your jail? And that's the best way to do it. Above all, keep in mind that when someone's arrested, you don't Western Union the bail bond money. You don't iTunes card to pay the bail money. So that's a popular scam, and unfortunately, a lot of people do fall for it. It's $1 billion a year people are losing to these type of scams. So there's just a few scams that you need to look out for. And like I said before, when in doubt, you don't know the number, don't answer it. Nothing's going to happen to you if you don't answer the phone number. And most times, scammers, they may leave a message saying, hey, this is Bob from the IRS. We have an urgent matter. You know it's fake. You know it's a scam. Don't call them back. But above all, don't answer. If you don't know the number, don't answer. And that's the best advice I can give you today when it comes to phone scams and how to stay safe. And, these scams are evolving, and as technology gets better, the scams get better. So just remember that and keep that in mind. And for future use, if you get a phone call and you don't recognize the number and you think it might be a scam, don't call it back. We worry so much about missing phone calls from important people like our doctors or, for jobs and different things. Legit companies will leave a name, a number, a callback information, and then you can check it. But if you receive a phone call and they leave you a message saying, as I said, this is Social Security, there's been an urgent matter, it's a scam. And just remember to ignore it. And with closing on this little tutorial, if people have asked me before, and I can't say this enough, I've been asked so many times, how do we stop these kind of scams? How do we stop scammers? Well, the answer is you can't stop them. You cannot go after the scammer and stop them. You can't take their phone away. They have 40 different phone numbers they're calling you from. And I'm going to tell you right now, most scammers have at least 3 or 4 phones that they use. They use throwaway phones, and they have lots of them. The best way to stop a scam, to stop a scammer is to not send them money. Don't send them money. Don't send them iTunes cards. Don't engage them. And if we shut the door on the scammers, then they won't have a profitable network to make money off of. So that's the best way to stop a scammer. You stop a scammer by educating yourself, staying safe, knowing what to look out for, and above all, don't send any money. Don't send these iTunes cards and walk away from it. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and I really appreciate your time. We're also recording this for our YouTube channel, so if you'd like to review it, it can be found on YouTube under Scamming Scammers, which is our channel. And I'll be doing a couple more of these little tutorials that are going to be played in a lot of different places. We're trying to get some of these to be played in a lot of the places where seniors gather, gaming rooms and senior centers and different places like that. So I'd like to appreciate everyone for listening, and we will cover some more topics in our next session. So thanks, and have a great day. Thanks everyone at YouTube for watching as well. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. Scamming Scammers Action on Facebook.